He eagerly anticipated each new birth as though it was a unique experience. We were never treated like another mouth to feed. Mama told her that she was named for Queen Elizabeth and for Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist. She told her to stand tall like a queen. Elizabeth knew about cars very early on. When Daddy traded for the 1936 Willys, the salesman asked her why they weren't taking the black Studebaker home. She informed him that it was broke. At 2.5, she became big sister when I came along, and she took her responsibilities seriously. Mom tells the story of her saving me from an oncoming car, which was probably about a block away, on a rural road, and dragged me into the bar ditch. I was on Pleasant Prairie. She owned the only doll in the family in the early years, Matilda Hazel. She had eyes that opened and closed. Sometimes I was allowed to hold her carefully. I recall being very impressed with Elizabeth's mastery of big words when at a very early age I heard her publicly recite her memory verse. I still remember her standing on the platform saying this. And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifested in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up into glory. 1 Timothy 3:16. I recall clearly the night when she gave her heart to the Lord, probably about 6 years old. I'm sure that Daddy and Mama talked on the way home about how important this was, which is possibly why I remember it so clearly. She never ever wavered from that commitment. She was, of course, the first to go to school. Soon after Grace was born, we moved to the little new house on Francis in time for school year start. There she had the master teacher, Miss Josephine Benner, for first grade. From that early year, she knew that she wanted to be a first grade teacher. When I joined her at Arlington Elementary, she got to be the big sister at school. She was the first to take piano lessons in second grade at school. She and Mama figured out that I, in following her, wasn't learning to read notes, but just simply mimicking what I'd heard her play. When I was given a new piece to learn for a recital, she refused to play it for me. I reported to Mom that I couldn't read it. At the end of that, I had to learn to read notes. On Francis, we had a landscaped yard, a garage, and a barn with a cow. Making butter was a family adventure. We had a vegetable garden where one evening, when picking beans, she gifted us with a family joke. Mama gets a kink in her back, but I've got a real backache. We moved to the big house on Broad in the winter, actually in February, where she got to have a bedroom by herself. She and I walked the mile from the new house to finish out the 6th and 3rd grades at Arlington. In the fall, however, 1945, Mama had 2 little boys, Philip and Dan, and a new baby, Ruth, at home. And so Elizabeth, as a mature 7th grader, took Grace and me to enroll us at Regal School. I don't know whether she was scared or not, but it was an awesome experience to me. It was at the end of the war, and there were lots of new kids from the nearby Coleman Park, also in this huge line of kids enrolling in school. Also in the bigger house, Daddy acquired the big heavy piano, which I believe you Funks had in Olympia later on. He decided to pay for private lessons for Elizabeth and me. Mr. Bittner did his best. He'd tap out the music with the cigar, unlit cigar out of his pocket. But we were big disappointments because we didn't practice enough. Daddy had to decide that he couldn't afford it if we didn't cooperate. I was a 6th grader, so Elizabeth was 9th grade. After 2 years, Elizabeth moved on to pave the way as a freshman at Rogers High School. She was always a good student and was the first of us to be tapped for National Honor Society. In her senior year, she again became my big sister. Mama required us to take 3 years of home economics. Whatever else we majored in, and Elizabeth was the first of us to take the 4th year, during which she learned tailoring, making a beautiful coral-colored wool suit. She taught me at home in the evenings, so I benefited from her daytime class experience, and I also learned some tailor from her. The two of us had a small business doing clothing alterations for our high school teachers. She was the first of the 7 of us who became library employees. She worked in the Rogers Library for Mrs. Capek, and then worked in the Whitworth Library all 4 years she was there. The 50-cent per hour after-school library job was passed on to me when she graduated from high school, the start of my library experience. On Sundays throughout our teen years, and later even, Elizabeth and I taught Sunday school and sang in the choir. After church, we were part of a team that went on Sunday afternoons to city and county jails. I played my accordion, and she and I sang duets. Another person gave a talk. In the afternoons, we often went to do the same thing at an old folks' home, and then we went to CA's, the Young People's Group, and then back to church again at night. As a senior, an essay she wrote earned her a full tuition scholarship at Whitworth for her first year. She got a union job at the Inland Empire Paper Company, wrapping reams of office paper or school paper in the finishing room. Working with Daddy every summer, she had the unique experience of interacting with him during the commute, as well as seeing him in his workaday world at the mill in Millwood. Again, she became big sister to me when I joined her at Whitworth, her senior year. We both lived on campus, but not as roommates. She had the unique privilege of student teaching with Miss Benner back at Arlington, and then was hired the next year to teach first grade next to her. A truly rich experience. I'll never forget the morning I was in the dining hall at Whitworth and had just poured milk on my sugar corn puffs when I saw across the room Elizabeth had just entered. I knew by the look on her face that something was horribly wrong. She found me and told me that Daddy had been hit by the train and was in Sacred Heart Hospital. For the next 2 days, we hoped and prayed, but he didn't make it. Mama was pregnant with Julia and shut down emotionally. So Elizabeth and I, with the gracious help of our pastor, R.J. Carlson, went to the mortuary to do the necessary arrangements. Daddy's dream was that all of us would attend college, and Whitworth was his choice. Elizabeth's graduation day was a very proud but bittersweet experience. It was the day that Daddy had so eagerly anticipated, and we had buried him 5 months before. I was home for a couple of years, working for the Spokane Public Library, and as two young working women, Elizabeth and I had some fun shopping experiences. Several times we rode the train to Seattle to shop for shoes at the original and only Nordstrom store at Fifth and Pike. On these adventures, we stayed with Uncle Dave and Aunt Esther Swanson. We also bought beautiful big hats at the Crescent in Spokane. We decided to buy matching watches at a jewelry store. Expensive. They were bought on a layaway. Watches weren't cheap in those days. They were made in Switzerland. Hers was yellow and mine was white gold. Following her first year of teaching, she went to Seattle to attend summer school at the University of Washington. Her effort was interrupted in early July by the death of our oldest brother, Philip. She had to hurry home, and we too were again at the mortuary arranging another funeral. After 7 years of living at home, being support to mom and big sister to everyone else, she applied for a job in the Edmonds School District. Here in Seattle, I was graduating from Seattle Pacific University and also applied at Edmonds. So we became sister roommates and fellow employees of District 15. She was the first of us to be able to visit relatives in Sweden, reuniting with Uncle Isaac and Aunt Anna, who had returned to Sweden before I was born, but knew Elizabeth until she was 2 years old. Bob and I were married a month before Hugh and Elizabeth were married, and so through all the years, we've had the same anniversary year and the same number of years married. I love the picture you chose of her unique and very capable hands. Elizabeth inherited Daddy's very wide wingspan and also these unusual hands. Goodbye, big sister. Now, I need to add, a bunch of us can't be here. Grace can't be here. And she sent me a text. It'll be the shortest bit of eloquence you will have ever heard from my sister Grace. I want to follow this carefully. She, period. She, period. Saved, period. A, period. Family, period. Ours, period. When Daddy died, she was over 21, with a few months of graduating college with a degree she could use to support herself anywhere she chose. She had a perfectly viable plan for her future. She gave it up and saved our family. That's from Grace. Okay, I also have a text from Gary and Linda Matthews, who are in Montana and couldn't come. And they said that this morning we are on their minds, and they're sending their love and blessings, and they're praying for us. I'm sorry?